Kazakhstan has chosen the multi-vector integration. Its trends, collisions, and prospects are coming up in the Single Market Program.
Today's program: Canada and Kazakhstan, the field of cooperation. Bright times for black coal. Another Belarusian brand in Kazakhstan. Multimodality as a trend in logistics. Hello, my name is Pavel Koktyshev, and you're watching Single Market. As global experience shows, today efficiency in the agro-industrial complex is often attained through the use of new technologies in production and effective business management. With their aid, fantastic results can be achieved. And Canada's experience is quite exemplary in this respect. The country officially has 2.2 million registered farmers, whose products can feed up to 100 million people. The agro-industrial complex is one of the leading sectors of Canada's economy. It satisfies completely the country's domestic demand and at the same time is one of the biggest exporters of agricultural products in the world. Canada holds strong positions in the export of wheat, barley, grain legumes, vegetable oil, genetic materials, and meat. The territory of the lands that are used by Canadian farmers for production covers 69 million hectares. Plough lands and pasture lands occupy a territory of just 43 million hectares. As a comparison, in Kazakhstan the territory of agricultural farmlands is 100,835,000 hectares. Of this territory, plough lands occupy 24.3 million hectares and pasture lands 68.4 million hectares. Regarding soil and climate conditions, in both countries and regions, they are very similar. For example, in the North Kazakhstan region of our country, atmospheric precipitation annually reaches from 300 to 450 millimeters. And in the province of Saskatchewan, which is considered to be the main grain supplier of Canada, from 326 to 433 millimeters.
The climate is a colder northern climate similar to what we have in Canada as well. So we don't have a lot of moisture because we're in the interior of the continent. I mean, you don't have two growing seasons in Kazakhstan, neither do we in Canada. But I think that it allows a period of refertilizing the soil, replenishing the moisture in the soil.
The similarity in the natural climate conditions and produced goods sets the ground for cooperation in the agro-industrial sector. One of the possibilities is exchange of experience in the use of resource-conserving technologies. In this field, Canada is considered to be a trendsetter. The country's no-till technology was adopted a couple of years ago by Kazakhstan's agricultural producers.
But I know that from visiting farms and speaking with farmers, some of it's been adapted. Like actually the machinery that's used to harrow the field is adapted somewhat. And in some cases I know Kazakhstan has adopted no-till technology to low-till technology because some tilling has been required, but it's on the same basis. And I think that's normal. Anywhere you go, you have to adapt the technology.
Another sphere of agriculture in which Canada and Kazakhstan are actively cooperating is livestock breeding. Here, cooperation is happening in two directions. It started in dairy cattle husbandry, when in 2007 Canada shipped for the first time Holstein Friesian cattle. In 2010, Canadian companies started shipping genetic material to Kazakhstan for the improvement of the meat cattle stock. Canada's Herefords were the first to appear in Kazakhstan.
So our company's based in Manitoba, Canada, so right in the middle of Canada. It's one of the coldest places on Earth that's inhabited by people, and very, very similar to the environment here in Kazakhstan. And I think it gives us the unique ability to understand the management, understand the genetics, and what needs how we need to manage those cattle to get maximum profitability and productivity through cold seasons.
For Kazakhstan's cattle husbandry companies, Canada's know-how is interesting not just in terms of efficiency of use of genetic material and creation of infrastructure, but also in terms of business management.
primary difference between Canada and Kazakhstan in terms of agriculture is it's largely family farms. And so the owner and the person doing the work are the same individual. And it's something that's been carried on for generations and generations. And so, for example, I'm a fourth generation beef cattle producer in Canada, and my family's been producing cattle for over 100 years.
This approach to cattle farming is especially important within the framework of cooperative movement, to which Kazakhstan is trying to attract small farmers and individual farming businesses, whereas it is known sometimes entire families work.
У нас есть достаточно сельскохозяйственных угодий, именно чистых.
We have a sufficient territory of farmlands, particularly environmentally clean ones, where safe production and cultivation can be established. We have the potential to increase the livestock population, and we have the human resources and labor force that are engaged in the agricultural rural areas.
Трудовые ресурсы, то есть люди, которые находятся в сельской местности.
According to experts in the field of agriculture, Canada's and Kazakhstan's cooperation can still see a number of interesting developments that can be beneficial for both countries. The most prospective of them is precision agriculture.
Environmental friendly usage of our machinery.
Precision agriculture is the method of using advanced technology to evaluate the characteristics of vast stretches of agricultural land, the chemical composition of the soil, access to irrigation and drainage, climate conditions, etc.
This model was developed thanks to the development of geoinformation, navigation, and telecommunication technologies, as well as the use of pilotless flying apparatuses. While sitting in their offices, specialists can monitor all the processes that are taking place on the fields just with their computers. The differentiated approach to the cultivation of every land section allows to save resources and at the same time achieve optimal harvest levels. A rational approach to land cultivation, self-reliance in the choice of solutions, focus on the market, and loyalty to family traditions is a good example to follow. And today, Kazakhstan's agricultural specialists are ready to learn from the experience of Canada's farmers. The production of coal. The world scenario for the development of this sector looks rather strange. On the one hand, coal is put down on the blacklist of energy resources, which the humanity must gradually stop using in order to avoid a negative impact on the environment and the climate. On the other hand, the US has announced the resurgence of the American coal industry and their withdrawal from the Paris Agreement. Finally, the third factor faced by some countries, including the states of the Eurasian Economic Union, the seasonal increase in demand for this traditional source of fuel. The situation on the coal market of the Eurasian Economic Union is reviewed by our analyst Alexander Galiyev.
Пациент скорее жив, потому что он снова востребован.
Coal is more likely to live because it is once again in demand. Perhaps this is how we can describe the situation that has developed in the world's coal market over the past year and a half. For the three coal mining countries of the Eurasian Economic Union, Russia, Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, this has become a good trend. Volumes of coal production increased and the investors' interest in the industry grew.
Инвесторов к отрасли. Россия. За первое полугодие 2017 года
Russia. In the first half of 2017, coal production amounted to about 198 million tons. At the same time, growth in comparison with the same period of 2016 exceeded 7%. And the best dynamics in the Russian coal industry, from the point of view of profitability, was shown by the extraction of coking coal, especially in the Kuznetsk and Pechora basins. Here it should be noted that in addition to steel mills, non-ferrous metallurgy enterprises also increased their demand for coking coal. By the way, the reserve volumes of this raw material in Russia are 47.3 billion tons.
запасы этого сырья в России составляют 47,3 миллиарда тонн. Кыргызстан. Напомним, что в
Kyrgyzstan. To remind, in 2016, coal production in the republic decreased by 7%. In 2017, the industry gradually began to increase its turnover. A 0.8% growth was registered in the first half of the year. According to experts, the positive trend will continue. In many respects, their expectations are connected with the completion of the process of modernization of the power plant in Bishkek, the capital of Kyrgyzstan, which is considered one of the key coal consumers in the country.
потребителей угля в республике. Казахстан. Добыча угля по итогам первого полугодия 2017-го составила почти 50
Kazakhstan. Coal production in the first half of 2017 amounted to almost 53 million tons. This is 17.4% more than for the same period in 2016. In 2016, 71,800,000 tons of coal were delivered to the domestic market. 26,200,000 tons were exported. One of the trends of Kazakhstan's exports is the reduction of coal supplies onto the Russian market. This is due to two factors. First, Russia's residents began using less coal from the Ekibastuz Basin, which is located in Kazakhstan, and increased the consumption of their own coal from the Kuzbas Basin. Secondly, Russia is gradually replacing coal with gas at its power plants. Nevertheless, in general, the year of 2017 for the coal industry in Kazakhstan was successful. According to preliminary estimates, coal production in early 2018 will exceed 100 million tons.
удачно. По предварительным прогнозам, добыча угля в начале 2018-го превысит 100 миллионов тонн. Вместо резюме. Здесь уместно перефразировать известное выражение.
And instead of a summary, it is appropriate here to paraphrase the well-known expression and to say, rely on demand, but stay sharp. Taking into consideration the global forecast for the relative reduction of the importance of coal as the main source of energy, the industry will have to change qualitatively. To this end, the country should intensify efforts to explore and extract methane from coal beds and to process coal in an advanced and comprehensive way. That is, in the first case, to produce ecologically cleaner type of fuel, and in the second case, products with high value added. And finally, within the framework of the already existing concept of Kazakhstan's transition to a green economy, the Republic is to carry out a large-scale modernization of existing coal-fired power plants. Then it will be possible to say that a streak of luck has come for the black source of energy. That's it for me. My name is Alexander Galiyev. Until next time on Single Market.
На этом у меня все. С вами был Александр Галиев. До встречи в программе Single Market.
Беларусь, союзник Казахстана по Евразийской экономике.
Belarus is Kazakhstan's ally in the Eurasian Economic Integration Project and partner industrial projects, which bear a sectoral importance that is of priority for our republic. A special place in this list belongs to the machine building sector. We have already accumulated the experience of cooperation in the assembly of Belarus tractors and large-capacity Bel-Az vehicles. The launch of assembly production of trucks under the Belarusian MAZ brand can be considered as a new project. The network of assembly workshops of the Minsk automobile plant is represented today in different regions of the world. Cargo vehicles under the MAZ brand are assembled in particular in Latvia, Egypt, Poland, Iran, Turkey, and other countries. The Belarusian company has earned a good reputation due to the high quality of products and original innovations, which it constantly introduces into the production of its vehicles. And choosing a partner in the profile sphere, the Kazakhstani company Astana Motors took these advantages into account. Not the least role was played by such a factor as participation of Belarus in the Eurasian Economic Union, because this also influenced the final results.
В 2016 году компания Astana Motors заключила партнерские взаимоотношения.
Astana Motors company entered into a partnership with the Minsk automobile plant, received all the necessary permits, technologies, certificates, training was carried out, and on 30th of June 2017 the MAZ truck production line was officially launched.
Официально был осуществлен запуск линейки грузовиков МАЗ.
At present, the Almaty enterprise manufactures vehicles of two models with a carrying capacity of 20 tons. There is a cycle of 3 manufacturing processes: welding, assembly, and painting.
Машинокомплект в разобранном виде, узлы, агрегаты.
Vehicle sets in disassembled state, blocks and large components come from the Republic of Belarus. A full vehicle set is assembled on the territory of the Astana Motors plant, where all the test trials are held. The cabin is welded, full body welding, and painting. All systems are tested, inspections are carried out, and so on.
Проверок и так далее.
The specialists of the enterprise attended advanced vocational courses. The training was conducted in 2 stages. During the first stage, the technologists of the Minsk automobile plant organized trainings right at the Almaty plant. What technologies were passed on to us? For welding, of both cabins and the body. Also, we have mastered hydraulics. That is, it is not only just necessary to weld and paint the body, it is also necessary to connect it and to start. We used to paint only county-style buses. And here we have much more detailed paintings already directly onto the cabin. There are more requirements to the quality of the painting here. During the second stage, the automotive mechanics of the Almaty plant were trained in Belarus and in Russia at the Profile Enterprises, where they studied all the details of warranty and service maintenance of engines.
Как проводить техническое обслуживание, с каким периодом, какие требования.
How to carry out maintenance, in what period, what are the requirements for adjustment during maintenance, and of different parts. They also went through training on working with scanners. That is, these vehicles are already equipped with a computer, and a scanner that we purchased, they taught us how to decode and identify without errors, if such arise.
Обучали расшифровывать и определять их коды ошибок, если такие возникают.
As an official partner of the Minsk plant, the Almaty company provides warranty and service maintenance of vehicles in accordance with the requirements of the Belarusian manufacturer. We're confident in the machinery which we manufacture. It does not differ in any way in quality from that assembled at the shops of the Minsk automobile plants. The MAZ trucks have a fairly wide range of uses. These vehicles are in demand with commercial enterprises, special service structures, and military establishments. By the way, potential consumers have the opportunity to purchase equipment under a preferential scheme. There is a state program to support entrepreneurs, abbreviated as DBK Leasing. The Development Bank of Kazakhstan grants concessional lending at a 3% interest rate. It is very cost-efficient and convenient. Basically, most sales are conducted through this wonderful scheme.
В основном продажи идут через вот эту прекрасную программу.
Today, Belarusian trucks assembled at this Kazakhstan enterprise are already used in Astana, Almaty and Uralsk, and the plant is gradually gaining momentum. In 2018, 350 vehicles are planned to be assembled here. In addition, by that time, the company must also master the assembly of trucks intended for communal services, so the business partnership between Kazakhstan's and Belarusian automakers will expand.
Today,
logistics is one of the most promising segments of the economy. The global transport market today is estimated at about $3 trillion. This is 7% of the global GDP. In some countries, it is above this average. For example, in Germany, it is 13%. Experts believe that the more advantageous geographical position a state has, the higher its logistics potential. What opportunities are opening up today for the profile companies of Kazakhstan, and who is ready to compete on the world market? Anarta Stanbekova brings us the details. Logistics and transport infrastructure is the alpha and omega of foreign trade. The high logistical potential of Kazakhstan is stipulated by its geographic position. At the same time, the republic compensates for the lack of direct access to the sea corridors at the expense of its central location in the Eurasian part of the world. Today, Kazakhstan is at a crossroads of civilizations, a junction of large roads. And here is a brilliant combination of both the Silk Road project and the project of the Eurasian Economic Community. As for the transport infrastructure, which also has a significant effect on the trade process, it is a very volatile and rapidly changing factor. Here, much depends on the proficiency of the players operating on the market of freight forwarding services. In Kazakhstan, this market is now significantly more active, and the tone in the sector is set by companies that already occupy strong positions not only in the country, but also in other countries. IFC Kolos is among them. Kazakhstan's providers of freight forwarding services have in their portfolio contracts with such major operators of sea transportation as international ports of Baku, Istanbul, Klaipeda, Hamburg, Amsterdam, and Liangyungang. In addition, the company entered into long-term contracts with key agents for air cargo transportation. As for the Middle East, now Kazakhstan's products, especially food, are very much in demand. These are organic products and also meat products, and we see a demand for air transportation in this direction. In this regard, we're actively cooperating with the Middle Eastern airlines.
В данный момент вот вы видите самолет, прибывший из Объединенных Арабских Эмиратов.
At the moment, you see an airplane that is arriving from the United Arab Emirates from the city of Sharjah, which brought 2 tons of cargo. There are 3 such airplanes a week arriving on a regular basis to Almaty.
Прилетает в Алмату.
There are big hopes here tied to Kazakhstan's participation in the Eurasian Economic Union. Expansion of trade and economic relations between the integration partners in the future promises to increase cargo traffic, and not only within the framework of the Eurasian Economic Union, but also beyond its borders. However, the new Union Customs Code will not come into force before 2018. Therefore, there are still blind spots in the field of freight transport and forwarding services.
Технический регламент, который работает в этом союзе, он
Technical regulations which operate in the Union are a bit more complicated and require certain documents. The participants of foreign businesses and our clients face daily the necessity to prepare a large number of documents.
Они сталкиваются ежедневно с тем, что необходимо готовить большое количество документов.
At the same time, the top management of IFC Kolos understands the profile in which the company specializes implies in itself a tough competition on the market. Therefore, they're not going to surrender their positions here. On the contrary, by expanding the market space, they will win their rightful place under the sun. Anarta Sanbekova, Anatoly Valuysky, exclusively for Single Market. That's all for today. My name is Pavel Koktyshev. Kind reminder, all the episodes of our program are available on www.kazakh-tv.kz. Until next time on Single Market.